Call to order the Plymouth Township Council Workshop Meeting for Monday, March 2nd, 2026. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks for being here tonight. We have one quick announcement before we'll hit our presentation tonight. Our announcement is that council will meet in an executive session at the conclusion of this meeting to discuss collective bargaining and potential litigation. And with that, we'll go into our presentation. So I think we have Andrew Convoy and John T. here from the EAB to talk about the Plymouth Municipal Clean Energy Transition Plan. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And thank you all for allowing us the time to speak today. We're going to be reintroducing the Clean Energy Transition Plan. We anticipate this presentation should be 10 to 15 minutes, but we hope to have a bit of a discussion or hear your questions and concerns. So the in 2019, Resolution 2019-16 was adopted. It's the Ready for 100 resolution, and it has a few main goals. One of those is a transition to 100% clean electricity by 2035, and by 2050, a transition to 100% clean energy sources for transportation and heating. Also included in that Ready for 100 resolution was the start of an clean energy transition plan that was to be drafted by the Environmental Advisory Board and presented to council. So here's the direct verbiage from the resolution. And so after this resolution was adopted here, the members of the Environmental Advisory Board, mainly Bill Saby and Andy Kotronik, began drafting the Clean Energy Transition Plan. They attended a Clean Energy Strategic Planning Series. It was 27 sessions with many different municipalities, including some of our neighbors, White Marsh, Springfield, Upper Dublin. And they attended this in August of 2020 through May of 2021 to help them draft this energy transition plan. So over that time, they were able to draft the Clean Energy Transition Plan, and this is just kind of a history of the Clean Energy Transition Plan and recent developments. So again, in spring of 2019 was when the resolution was adopted, and in September of 21 it was drafted. We met with council at the time, or Andy and Bill met with council at the time to discuss comments and concerns about the plan, and later that month presented their former draft to council. But at that time, they were asked to place that on hold while the municipal building was being reconstructed. So that explains this large gap between October 2021 and now. But throughout 2025, with the help of the Shared Energy Manager, which we were lucky to have their help last year, we were able to, again, mainly Bill and Andy, were able to work with the Shared Energy Manager to update, improve, and align the Clean Energy Transition Plan with county and state recommendations. So they worked on it throughout 2025, and here we are in March of 2026, bringing this plan back up to council. So I mentioned the plan now aligns with the county and state recommendations. So Montgomery County and the state of Pennsylvania have released climate action plans, which include pathways for reducing greenhouse gas emissions within municipalities, and also include some actions to help municipalities adapt to the effects of climate change. So again, working with the Shared Energy Manager, we made sure that the Clean Energy Transition Plan now aligns with these county and state plans, and those are available here on this slideshow.
All right, so the Clean Energy Transition Plan establishes a clean energy and efficiency management team with the goal of overseeing the plan implementation into municipal operations, planning, and budgeting. It's essentially a steering committee with the goal of driving the changes for energy efficiencies. And it's going to comprise of township staff with the support of the EAB. Of course, it's going to comprise of staff from different areas that can impact clean energy. And they will meet quarterly or less to discuss plans and budgets for the years going forward. And they will determine what actions to take, right? So in the Clean Energy Transition Plan, there's a lot of options, a menu, so to speak. And the goal of the SEAM team is to pick out the ones that work for Plymouth Township. So there's also, they also determine whether things are long-term, short-term, or mid-term, and what actions to take during those terms. And the SEAM team will be taking a flexible approach to this. So instead of being rigid and having a 5-year plan and trying to stick to it, they're going to adapt as necessary. But what's also important is that they have these KPIs, metrics to measure themselves by. They'll be reporting this to council, keeping you updated, and this allows for transparency as well as to measure and able to celebrate their own wins. And there are 4 areas, there's 4 actions that is in the Clean Energy Transition Plan. They consist of procurement, renewable energy production, efficiency, and fleet electrification. Procurement includes establishing renewable electricity procurement policies for your municipal properties, investigating renewable energy model ordinances, easing solar permitting and promoting community solar, as well as exploring power purchase agreements. Renewable energy production is electrification within buildings, so that's heating, cooling, hot water, and cooking, etc. So, for example, geothermal is an example of that. Efficiencies is increasing energy efficiencies within new purchases and renovations. And fleet electrification speaks for itself. It's the electrification of transportation where feasible, so ideally we would target the highest greenhouse gas emitters first. And all of these actions, we can point these back to the county and state climate action plans. As far as how often they're supposed to be had, initially they can be bi-monthly, but then we can move them quarterly or less depending on how much time you want to spend on that. And as part of the Ready for 100, as part of the community of the municipalities, as Andrew's mentioned, we can also have shared expertise with other municipalities as well. So learn from best practices. So, in conclusion, the establishment of a clean energy transition plan is called for by Resolution 2019-16. Our clean energy transition plan aligns with and flows down actions from the state and county climate action plans. And the establishment of the SEAM team drives and then oversees the incorporation of efficiency, electrification, and renewable energy. And the EAB recommends adopting the Climate Energy Transition Plan as soon as possible and establish the SEAM team so that we can start implementing the actions in 2016. Do you have any questions?
Anybody have questions?
I kind of have more of like a broader question, I guess, with some of these issues. I was sort of wondering as I was listening. Obviously, there's always, over the years, that last decade or so, been a bigger movement towards electric vehicles. Now, of course, we're seeing like these rising costs of electric across the board. Has there been, in anything you've worked, have you seen any sort of pushback and any difficulty in any places electrifying with the costs going up so much, and you know, traditional fuel costs relatively stable?
Yeah. I think if we're able to bring in Bill and Andy to talk more about these questions, because they are the experts behind this, so they have probably more knowledge about these questions, if it's okay if we can pose those questions to them, or...
I don't need like a real deep answer, just more of a overview, if you have an answer.
I think that's a question that's being tossed around all across the country because of the rising electric costs. But electrification of vehicles, I mean, you're right, when oil was higher cost and gasoline was higher cost, then the lower cost of electricity really showed you the financial benefits of EVs. The question is, now the electricity rates are up, how close is that coming to parity with gasoline vehicle costs? That's a good challenge. I think the advantage would be to put solar on your property and power your battery, your electric vehicle battery charging from your solar on your property, and then you're not paying for increasing electricity costs. That would be the best solution.
I do have an answer for this. I don't have the source right now because I didn't bother to save it, but there was, I think it was from AAA, and they were comparing a 2025 Ford F-150 versus the Ford F-150 Lightning. And the cost, in terms of usage, the cost was about 50% less using electricity when compared to gas, over 15,000 miles in 1 year. So I think the difference was about like 1,000 versus 2,000 or something like that.
Not yet. I have a few. So I will say, first of all, thank you for coming in to present tonight. And conceptually, I mean, personally, I'm very much in support of a clean energy transition plan. I think it's a great idea. Love the idea that the update to the plan is now aligned with county and state recommendations. I think that's a really smart strategic move. Appreciate that. As always, I mean, the questions for me are around like sort of the detail of making something like this happen. So just a couple of questions. I know in the plan there was immediate steps, short-term steps, long-term steps. And I'm not looking for you to like exactly what's the timeline on that. But when you say immediate, is that 2026? Is it into 2027? And what does that really look like in terms of immediate versus short-term versus long-term?
Yeah, I think like for some of the more immediate impacts, I think it could be something like, you know, if new vehicles are being purchased this year, and the SEAM team is meeting to discuss, you know, maybe instead of this option, we can go with this hybrid or electric option. That would be relatively short-term impact, because it's that's the kind of discussions that we're hoping to encourage with the SEAM team, and the impacts that are held right away. And Andy?
I think as you review the different time frames, you'll see that what is called for immediately is kind of really the planning stage. So it's not the ones that are resulting in big purchases and everything. Those are going to be longer term understood. But it's calling for immediate start to planning, start to lay out, you know, what the purchases will be going forward. So go through and look at the different actions, and I think you'll see that as you go through.
Okay, appreciate that.
Then can I ask a follow-up to that?
Please.
Is there stuff that, since 2019, that we have done that's, I don't want to say retroactive, but things that are in terms of like, that we did maybe with the geothermal, or things that we would have in there as like checked off already that we've done?
I think actually
Or are we looking for new things?
the conduit was one of the ones that I think we had an action for that in our EV listing. And I think we removed that, though, from the document. I don't know if I can't remember if geothermal was, but I imagine it was. So, yes, I think we have. And the document actually, at least, I know it lists the geothermal for heat pump as an accomplishment that has been done by the township.
No, one of the things I also think about is, just being candid, the additional work to our township staff. Like, do you see the SEAM team also providing some like boots on the ground support? Like what I would be concerned about is, for example, if everything landed on Matt's plate, like we just gave Matt a whole new array of things to do, as important as they are. But how much can the team sort of contribute to that cause? And Matt, I'd be interested in your perspective on if this is something that, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but,
Oh, no.
but whether it fits on your plate or how much of this fits on your plate for 2026.
Thank you, Bill, Andy, good to see you.
Good to see you, Matt.
This is, what I'm going to say is no surprise to them. I've told them this many different times. There's nothing that they have discussed that I don't disagree with, right? I'm on board. The challenge and the rub for me is implementation. When everything that comes across my desk is an emergency or it's a prioritization, that's a really big challenge for me to triage that and prioritize. And with me, with energy transition, yeah, philosophically, I'm on board. The disconnect really continues to be at the implementation side. Where's the money coming from to implement these things? In my experience, the more money that's available and you can make it cost effective and show that return on investment is valuable, it's going to be successful. Unfortunately, at Plymouth, you know, we're modernizing, and so many of these recommendations are going to be from scratch. And you know, let's talk about EV, the electrification of the township's fleet. Sounds great, but that means we're going to have to entirely overhaul how the township has historically purchased, managed, maintained vehicles. That's organization. That's a heavy lift, right? And I'm not confident that we would be able to just flip the switch, enact this team, and hey, check it out, we're going to have everything just like this. It's going to be this is a very long process. And I know I'm on board. I like this idea of having the sounding board with the EAB to be a partner with us. Here's my monthly shameless plug for the capital improvement plan, right? We're doing that. We're developing a comprehensive 5-year capital improvement plan. Parallel track, you know, we're talking about do vehicles belong in the capital improvement plan? If so, what? And as we develop those paths, you know, Kellen and I have been talking about this weekly. We would really appreciate that input because that would help us prioritize as we put that capital improvement plan together to then provide that to council to review, to approve, and adopt, knowing that we have buy-in, bacon, that sounds good, buy-in and baked into the capital improvement plan, your recommendations. And so I know, you know, this is not new. You heard me say this. How are we going to pay for it? And it's easy to say, oh, there's grants available or there's funding available. Everything comes with money, right? We have to put skin in the game. Very few instances is there free money. And so I'm a planner type. I like to know what these projects are. Let's get them on that plan and then identify funding mechanisms and how we can then implement that over that 5-year period. So long-winded explanation to say, appreciate this. I think if we manage expectations right, I think this can be effective. You know, I think that, you know, me and my staff are always looking at ways to become more efficient, and not just in how we do things, but what tools we make to be more efficient. And so this plugs into you know, our decision-making metrics, and looking forward to continuing the conversation.
Who in procurement or financing would be is involved with the township? Do we know?
Kellen, who is our finance director? Yeah.
Okay.
It's mostly Kellen and I with finance, talking about, you know, the nuts and bolts with the finance things.
Mm-hmm.
But then it touches every department because every department has a capital expense.
Right. And purchasing procurement team, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, we have defined a capital expense. First of all, those you already know, how do you define a capital expense? It's a trick question. There is no definition. What I like to do is define a one-time cost and then a useful life. So staff have developed what we are defining a capital expense as a one-time cost of $20,000 or more, and a useful life of not less than 5 years. So department directors think of all of their things in their universe that meets that definition. They then put that on a spreadsheet, a master spreadsheet, and say, okay, does this need to be replaced? If yes, when? If yes, when and how much? What do you anticipate? That's the decision point. Anytime that we need to replace those things, that's the decision point. How do we do it, and what do we replace it with? And I'm really excited about it because I know I'm cut from that same cloth. I'm always looking for how we can be doing things better and more efficient. So it's not just me and Kellen. It's going to be township-wide, all directors.
Yes. On that same topic, with that being said, you are taking into account of total cost of ownership, right? So I think what we are also saying is, because, as Andrew mentioned, because they are already taking, or the directors are already taking into account when they're building their CapEx list, that when they do the purchase, we ask that they be mindful of the environmental concerns.
Yep, that's good. Yep, I share that same philosophy. And another disconnect is it's difficult to sell me right now on an electric trash truck, right? There's just like really big disconnects where it doesn't make sense, right? There are some real challenges ahead of us, and the technology has been getting much better, but the deployment of reality at times, really we have to apply logic and sound reasoning for every decision.
So, Matt, listening to what you've shared, and Andy, working off what you said, which is a lot of the immediate steps are planning steps, like they're not actual purchases, we're not implementing anything new, we're planning. Does it make sense, it's sort of a question for anybody who wants to answer it, I mean, does it make sense to use 2026 to actually just put some plans in place to make sure that we are coordinated around some of these go-forward strategies? And is it anything different than what we're already doing? And I'm thinking baby steps, right? Like, can we start to take steps in that direction? Maybe even some little things that we haven't done.
As I'm processing these things, and I've been thinking about it, I think the logical next step would be, once we have our draft capital improvement plan, use that as an opportunity to meet with members of the EAB, to present it to them, to say, hey, look, this is what we're thinking about, this is what we're doing, here's the lens through which we're looking at to make these decisions and these recommendations. Do you have any feedback? Let's start there. Let's see how that process works. Because, quite frankly, the capital improvement plan process, that's a big deal. And we haven't done that the way we're doing it before. And I really want to make sure that that is teed up and successful this year. And that'll be presented to council mid-year. And so there's going to be, the next months, several months, opportunity for us to engage with the EAB to get you, acclimated to it and get your feedback. I think that would be a really good next step. Kellen, does that sound logical to you too?
Yeah, I think at least moving forward, at least for the 2027 budget,
Yeah.
I think that'd make the most sense.
Yeah. So right, good. The capital plan that we're going to be proposing will be for council consideration going into the 2027 budget making process. Remember, a capital plan is a planning document, not a funding document. And the idea is to get council to review it, adopt it mid-year, and then that's a great hand in glove going into the 2027 budget making process, where we consider actually funding those projects included in the capital improvement plan.
Yeah, so it's a way to start making that a formal part of the process. Okay. The only other thing I can think of in terms of like how we're taking at least some small steps forward that seem like bite-sized steps is knowing that the plan now aligns with the county and the state. Are there other municipalities doing things that we can start to coordinate with, learn from? Like, is there some way to start leveraging that as we're building our plan and thinking ahead?
There's about 5 other municipalities in Plymouth County that have a transition plan or a climate action plan, and we can start networking with them and learn from them. Springfield has been working on getting some hybrid, and I think they have an electric vehicle. Narberth's got an electric vehicle. So yes, we should collaborate with those similar municipalities that have similar goals.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's something the AB can help with, like pulling some of those to the table. So as we're making these decisions, looking at a capital improvement plan, some of that information is available. Like maybe it helps us move things forward a little more quickly if we know where someone else has tripped over something or it's worked really well.
I know a thing or two about Narberth.
I bet you do.
Been there before, man.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
And Lansdale is a good example too.
Know a thing about that too.
I knew that'd be a good fit for you, Matt.
It's good.
Other thoughts, comments, questions?
I just wanted to push for clarity on next steps. I mean, I'm hearing the capital improvement plan. I understand where you're going with that and thinking about the funding for this. I mean, you've seen the state, the county, the plans that they put forth. Our resolution called for a plan for implementing these actions to get to 100% renewable. So, I mean, I'm trying to still understand what the thoughts are and trying to implement a plan here. I mean, I heard it put forth that I don't mind that as long as you're actually seeing the progress, but like I said, that the county, state have a plan, we called for a plan, so I'm trying to understand where you'd like to go. We've got a plan here, with what you want to follow, but, we've got it all drafted ready.
Yeah.
What
No,
do you think?
I wasn't implying we shouldn't have a plan. I'm just trying to be clear about how much of a plan we want to bite off at this time. I mean, it seems to me using 2026 for planning purposes makes sense. I think suggesting that we could do anything else in 2026 is probably not accurate.
Well, maybe except other than look at at this capital
Right.
projects, capital.
Capital improvement
Yeah,
plan.
which is part of it, and I would
Which
throw
I
that
think would
in
be
the
part
plan.
of this.
Yeah, I would throw that in the planning bucket, right? I mean, we're planning ahead, we're starting to look at these things, make commitments, figure out how to fund them for 2027 or beyond.
Much like the capital improvement plan, it is a plan. It's not a funding document. Just to turn the temperature down. By adopting a plan doesn't mean you're gonna be bound to it in the same way, just like the comprehensive plan, it's a planning document. This is a North Star. And, and all of these things that we do, this is what this is what we should be reviewing it under the lens through which we look as we make these decisions.
So, but what I hear you asking, Andy, is like, are we going to adopt the plan? Like, if we look at the plan that you put in front of us, are we going to say, yes, we'll start doing this, yes, we'll start doing this, we're not sure about that, yes, we'll start doing this? That's what I hear you asking us to be more clear about.
I'm asking for what is your step or to adopt this or not. I think Matt actually put it well. I mean, it's a plan, and in the presentation, they talked about how there's many options laid out there. You don't have to select all the options. Really, the biggest thing the plan does is it calls for having a meeting where you're kind of focused on what are we going to do going forward. Let's start planning. I mean, that's probably the one sure thing that's in there is get a group together and talk about energy and efficiency and procurement and that type stuff. So if you're willing to get everyone together and make that a specific topic that we're going to focus on that, then I guess I don't quite see why not adopt a plan, because everything else is flexible in there. I mean, you have the end goal of where you want to get in 2035 and 2050, but how you get there, that's flexible. So.
And if I could, I agree with Andy. I think that you'll find that the plan is not going to be different if you don't adopt it here in May to, you know, I figure you need 2 months to adopt it, and then it's not gonna change if you adopt it in May versus if you adopt it in January next year. It's the same plan. We aren't gonna change it. Really, all it allows you to do once you adopt it is, as Andy says, to form the team, have one meeting. You could say, we met our goal in 2026. We had our first meeting. And that's all the time you spend on it during 2026. Then after the 27 budget plan is put together, you can reform the team in January 2027 and start your task for what you want to do in 2027. So adopting the plan is not going to be any different between doing it this year in 2 months versus next January. So I'd say go ahead and adopt the plan so you have it in your system and your department heads can get familiar with it. And then you can have that discussion the first year to say, what do we want to do, you know, in coming years? It's not going to change if you don't adopt it till January to between now and then. So I'd say go ahead and adopt it.
I like the way it sounds, very manageable. The commitment for 2026 is to form the team and have a meeting. So if that's on the table as what we're being asked to commit to, reactions to that?
I think it could be organized around the capital
Yeah,
improvement
that's what
plan
I was thinking, yeah.
and the budget process later in the year.
It's like another touch point. And, you know, those are the two, you know, comp plan, capital improvement plan, and budget are the three, the trifecta of the most important plans in any municipality. And this could be another thing that we could just kind of plug and play and say, hey, look, okay, what does this say? What should we be doing? I see it being valuable for that and being a part of those processes. I just want to make sure we manage expectations accordingly.
Yeah.
You know, scheduling meetings, and that is it sounds easy, but it can be challenging. And expectations of what we fund and how we fund it, and, you know, if everybody continues to be on that same page, once you adopt a plan, it becomes official.
Who needs to be at these meetings?
Well, Bill said meeting.
Yeah.
I just said one. I mean, if that's all you do this year in 26, one would be sufficient. I think it's just get the plan adopted and just have one little, you know, get together with your staff heads and maybe a couple EAB members. And then if you don't do any more in 2026, at least you've got that discussion started. You can have the plan written, people can read it, and then next year you can actually get into the meat of it.
I mean, I think there's actually three things. We do that, so we have a kickoff meeting, we pull the team together and have a kickoff meeting. We do what Matt suggested, which is build these discussions along with that into the capital improvement plan going forward. And we start to look at what other municipalities are doing and just start to inform ourselves around successes or challenges. And if we did that, I mean, I like what you're saying, Matt. I mean, let's be clear about expectations, and we're not gonna bite off more than we can chew. Would that be a reasonable place to start? Should we do more, or should we do less?
Is that before considering adopting the plan? Or adopting the plan and doing that thing? I'm still disconnected also, like, is council interested in adopting the plan?
It sounds to me like it would be adopt the plan
And then do those things?
do those things.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, but I like what I heard here also. The plan's flexible, so we're not committing ourselves to anything that isn't flexible. Should we adopt the plan and should something change, we have the ability to say, slow that down or pick that up. But at least we're committed. I think what they're asking of us is, are we committed to this plan? Is this something we want to see happen? The timeline may change, but do we want to do this? What do you all think? Is this something we want to do? And are those the right steps to just
Are we
baby steps
tied
forward?
to everything in the plan, or can we take what we like and get rid of what we don't? Like, is that an option?
There are no commitments in the plan. You'll see that it's just listed as 1 year, 3 year, 5 year tasks. The CEM team can meet and say, let's take all these tasks and push them off to year 5, or put them in year 3. So it's completely flexible. There are no commitments in this plan.
I mean, I like that it's flexible.
Yeah.
And I like that it does keep some of this conversation front and center, so we can be at least, even if it's just baby steps, like we're taking
It
some
shows a
steps
commitment.
forward. And And I am sensitive to like anything that looks like it's landing on your
Yeah,
plate.
I
So
agree.
if we're doing that this year, committing to those things, is that?
It's all great.
Pulling your hair out in clumps.
Give me more, please.
I do want, I don't know if I'm privy to this, but you did ask a question. What is this STEAM team going, who is going to be in this team?
Don't know yet.
And my question is, are they boots on the ground? Are they helping? Like, I don't want to,
Yeah.
candidly, I don't want a team to come together and be like, Matt, did you do those things yet?
Right.
Matt, did you do that stuff yet? Are there boots
Agreed.
on the ground that are helping to do some of the things that might be in this plan? Not just drafting a plan and handing it to Matt? Or our department heads?
Right,
Or all of the above.
yeah.
So maybe that's part of thinking through this first meeting and how we launch and who's on the team and what the roles are. I mean, does that sound reasonable? Yeah?
The unknown. You never know until you adopt it.
Anything last? Second to last, anything? No?
No. Is this something council would like on a future agenda as a potential action item for consideration? The adoption of the plan?
Probably should be, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like that at the next meeting, next Monday, or would you like this to be in April?
I would recommend not doing it next
Okay.
month, or next week, maybe consider next month or the month after.
If we can get,
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's a
Yep.
good idea.
Not sooner than April. All right,
Okay.
sounds good.
And you have the current plan draft? Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you. Bill.
Thanks for your time.
Very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks,
Thank
Randy.
you. Thanks, Matt.
Didn't get this in last year.
No, you're good.
Appreciate it.
Looks like we have no discussion items, so we can go right to our departmental updates. Len, why don't you kick us off with all things happening in the world around you?
Is A-OK with IT. Just a couple items we're working on. Still working on new phones for everybody. And working through some updates with 365. That's about it.
And?
Yeah.
The website, it's
It's in motion, that's big news.
You're right, it's chugging along. They sent over, Revised sent over the site map of the site. Staff and I are going through what we think is best with the recommendations from the committee and also recommendations from department directors. And what they, would like to see in there, what they don't want to see anymore, trying to streamline it a little bit. That's about it. Step at a time. But it's moving forward.
The unsexy phase of it is looking at the site map.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's just like a spreadsheet, I'm like, what? It's not sexy looking,
Not at all.
but it needs to be done.
Yes.
That's what the website's built on.
Well, thank you for grinding it out behind the scenes on that. I know that's not a fun task, but. Any questions for Lynn? All right. Chris, your team built it again, Public Works, cleaning the streets?
Yeah, busy snow season, but we're managing. Trucks are doing well, men are doing well, and the women. It's been a challenge. We actually just got our first delivery of salt in the last 5 weeks today. They finally got in, broke through the ice and got in the port. And with the freeze-thaw conditions that we're having now, we're filling potholes throughout the township. We've identified all the ones that we could. We canvassed the entire township, and so our guys are out filling potholes. And the branch and chip program actually starts this week, so spring is upon us.
Is it though? Is it? Really?
Is that a promise?
That's about it.
Oh, thank you. Thanks to your team again. Great job.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Steve?
I sent something out to council and the department heads for all their staff. This Thursday, we're having our 75th anniversary breakfast. Internally, we've already started to put up some antique artifacts that we found downstairs. We've been searching throughout the township, a historical society, and we wound up finding it in boxes downstairs in the 1950s. So I'm glad that we were able to save them, especially through those floods that we had. So anybody that's able to come, it should be enjoyable. You might notice our social service contacts are down. That's because our co-responder has been out. She's out long-term, so we have replacements coming in as promised, but it took a little bit there to iron all that out. We participated in Black Heritage Day at the community center, which was enjoyable. Our emergency management scenario, the active shooter scenario, that's going to be happening Saturday, May 2nd at the Colonial Middle School. It's from about 7 in the morning till about 12 o'clock. It's a hard stop. It's a half a day, and we'll have assignments for all the different people. And if council wants to participate, we'll also do a tabletop for them, and then they can also come out and physically see the workings of this. And that's going to be an annual thing. Always different scenarios, always concentrating on different agencies. Sometimes it'll be specific to fire, sometimes it'll be specific to medics, but we'll all be working together. I'm also, within the next couple of days, going to get to the solicitor some MOUs that I wanted them to take a look at before I propose them to council. And they're basically for emergency management. It would be an MOU between the township and private organizations, securing the promise of services with the promise of payment for things like when we need fuel brought out to our site, contracting equipment, whether something needs to be demolished or big debris has to be cleared for a roadway. I mean, these are for true emergencies where it needs to be done now. You have to know who's going to do it, and they have to know that they're going to get paid. So clearly, it's something that's got to be worked through the solicitor, how much, whether it works for the township. But I'll be doing that, so in the near future I can propose that. Just one of the things that we're ironing out with the emergency management program.
Chief, on the May 2nd event, is it helpful for council to be there? Like, is it ideal if people are there so that we're a part of an experience like that, or are we, not say away, but is it more work for you to have us there? I mean, if it's, yeah.
Well, I think it's a good idea, not necessarily being there, although it might be interesting to you if at some point you want to do that. But I think it helps if you have your own scenario where, since we have cameras and we're going to have a drone flying, if you were in this room, for instance, you'd be able to see what's going on over there while you're doing what you need to do. What you need to do is we're going to be giving you the information. You ultimately have to make the decision. So I don't want to overcomplicate it like you have all kinds of assignments, but you are the decision makers. So you might want to see how it goes so that the first time isn't when there's a true emergency and you're like, it's a little uncomfortable. But you're welcome to do both. But you'll actually get to see everything from this room, but you're always welcome to come out as well. So if there's a different way you would all like to do it, like you say, look, we can all get together for, let's say, 2 hours. We can make it so that, we can have something set up at that time. You don't have to feel obliged to, but I just want you to know that that's part of the process. And if it's something you're able to do, it's not a bad idea.
What was the timing of it again?
It's from 7 in the morning to 12. We had to do it on a Saturday because we have all the volunteers, so obviously they're working through the week. To get everybody together. We'll also have other departments, other fire companies from other townships, other police departments, because quite honestly, when you have a major emergency, everybody knows they have to work together, so everybody has assignments. So even that is just interesting to see.
Sounds good.
And I'll keep you up as it goes along, and then you'll let me know what, if any, kind of participation you guys want to do. And if not, we'll schedule something when it's convenient for you guys, maybe during one of your meetings, where we can do a simple tabletop just so you get the feel for it. So you let me know that as well.
Okay. Thanks, Chief.
Excellent.
Thanks. Thank you. We're going to hop over Matt. Matt always gets to go last.
That's perfect. I'm the closer.
Big news in engineering. On my desk are the plans, land development plans, and application for the townhouses on Plymouth Road in South Powell. So that will be before us, before we know it, but just opening the plans yesterday and kind of going through them, I think they are pretty consistent with what we saw at the rezoning hearings and the sketches that were filed. Some minor changes, but nothing of substance.
Did they follow up with their cap?
They are working with Alan, yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. So I guess Carol, engineering, myself, we've got the fire chief looking at those plans, and so a lot of different individuals within the organization take a look and filing reports to you guys.
Okay. Thanks, Ted.
That's all I had, I think.
All right, thank you. Phil, what's the word?
Got lots of good words in Parks and Recreation. Thank you to everybody who came out to Black Heritage Day. Thank you to Naomi, who did a great job leading it and provides the vision for it, so it was a wonderful day. We're hoping to get the lap pool open again. We're going to announce on March 12th. The date that'll actually open will be the 16th to the 31st. We just don't know which day yet because there's inspections and punch lists and stuff, so that's pretty exciting. So we kind of got a format that'll make it, keep everybody happy, hopefully. And then the leisure pool will open closer to spring break for Colonial School District. We'll do some rec swimming then. And the sauna and the whirlpool, the sauna will open right away. The whirlpool shouldn't be too far after the lap pool. So we have that going on. Got a lot of plans for spring break. Senior Games is starting. We're starting registration with that. And 10% off annual passes, 310 through 316. So we got a lot going on.
Sounds good. Thanks, Phil. Jim?
Not much going on. Working on street light. I finally got the PSI in Tracer, and now it's just a matter of putting in data so we can actually speed up the process as far as when the light's out. Trying to figure a way to get the constituents involved in it, but it looks like it's going to be harder to do that, so it's going to probably be easier for them to call in and let us put it in the system. It looks like it's going to be fairly easy. Once they identify which light it is, we can touch it on our screen and bring up its information and fill out the report to send it out. Also working, or I was working with Marco the last week and a half and catching up on the complexes, doing the rental inspections and everything. So that went well. And final thing for me is I gave Matt my letter. May 8th will be my last day. I'll be retiring.
Well-deserved retirement.
Yep.
Already?
Congrats on that, John.
Looking at jealous faces.
Good stuff. Anything else?
Jim, I'm just curious, and I don't know if you know this off the top of your head. I know, as the street lights were going and they were being replaced with the LED lights or whatever, do you know what percentage we have in the township now that are the LEDs versus the old ones that are still out there?
We have 976 streetlights. They're all started as high-pressure sodium. We're probably at about maybe a third. So every time the ballast goes photocell or the like, they replace it with an LED.
Thanks. Rebecca, anything that's not confidential that you can share?
Jim gave me some work. He posted his job, and there's been some movement within the bureaus and public works, so a conditional offer was extended today for a new laborer.
Oh, nice. Good stuff. Thanks. Kellen, the world of finance?
Not a whole lot. The week of March 23rd, our new auditors will be coming in, so that's just something new for the finance department. As we mentioned before, we went out and hired Mally to do at least our next 3 years of audits. The only other thing, too, is I talked with Matt. I think Matt talked to some of you about this, is changing the way the finance report is each month to council. What I I want to do is, right now, it's kind of just numbers thrown out there, not thrown out there, but there's no real context behind the numbers. What I want to do is just to give a little bit more detail to where those numbers are coming from. Like, for example, in February, we earned $1 million for EIT. Is that good? Is that bad? Just give some more narrative behind it. I think that's going to help council not just understand the finances, but also the budget season, give a little bit more context behind where the numbers are all coming from, and if they're up to where they should be. So that's pretty much it.
It's awesome. Couldn't love that anymore. I think, Aaron and Chris, you haven't seen it yet. Kristen and I got a sneak peek of that, but the report will actually highlight for us, like, this is in yellow, pay attention to it. This is in red, really pay attention to it. So rather than like having to comb through all the budget documents and wonder, like, is that okay? Is that good? How are we doing? This will summarize it. Like, it's really, it's brilliant. It's crisp and clean and.
It'll be for the general fund, the sewer operating fund, and the community center fund, but we'll still touch base with all the other funds as well. But it should be a good overview, really quick overview to see it.
That's great. Thank you, Matt and Kellen, for coming up with that process improvement, updated report. It's great. Good stuff. Chief Hoffman, any news for us? What's happening over at Harmonville?
No, I was able to get the annual report to you guys, so thank you for your comments. Matt, thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Again, if council has any questions, they can always feel free to reach out to me. Tim, I do have one question for you regarding the Sal Payone property. Does he actually own that at this point? Because I was in contact with Mr. Payone.
I do not believe he has made settlement yet.
So the fire department is going to try and work with Mr. Payone on doing live fire training in those old buildings. It would be able to bring the volunteers to actually have live fire training, but it is a process. It's probably about a 6-month process that I would need to be able to actually make that happen. So he had told me the last time I contacted him, maybe about 2 months ago, that he didn't own the property just yet, and he would need to actually physically own that before we could broach those conversations. So if you have any insight, if you could let somebody, Matt, know, maybe he can shoot me an email and I can talk to Mr. Payone again, that'd be great.
Let me figure out if there's some kind of settlement date that's proposed. We'll get back to him.
August, I think they were.
August, Matt?
Is it August?
August timeframe, I think, is what sounds about right.
Yeah, because to be able to bring live fire training to the volunteers and our career staff so they can train before they actually have to go to something for real would be immensely helpful. And we don't get that opportunity outside of the fire academy, but that's a concrete building that we all go into every time, and not every building is the same, so.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean. Nice.
Yeah, so just finishing up with the natatorium renovation project. We're getting close to the end. Getting ready to get outside. We have a lot of cleanup to do. Get water on to the various parks and buildings, and kind of like queuing up the 2026 projects.
Great. So sounds like everything's still on schedule. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks to both of you for managing that.
We're just keeping our fingers crossed here as we get.
I should have been knocking on wood.
Yeah, doing everything we got, so yeah, almost there. The water's in the pool, and it looked better than it's looked since in months. It was warming up. It goes up 2 degrees a day, so it takes a while. So.
Awesome. Good stuff. Last but never least, Matt.
Oh, great segue into an on-time and hopefully under-budget project to the Harmonville Fire Station rebuild. Having a little bit of time delay. If you've been rolling by and you haven't seen much activity there, there's a delay in steel manufacturing. That continues to be a thorn in our side. We are actively working on it. We're working with our design architect to address those issues, and hopefully we can get a resolution soon. I just wanted to update you all on a conference that I attended earlier in February, the Association for Pennsylvania Municipal Management, which is a subsidiary of the Pennsylvania Municipal League. I'm not a really big conference goer. I find that it's a lot of fluff and a lot of ideas, but then when you get there, it kind of misses the mark. But this conference, it's the annual Executive Development Conference, I find to be highly useful. It's a statewide conference, but it's only usually probably around 70 to 80 people. And you all go to the same sessions. And not only is it really good for networking, you just get to learn from each other's experiences, and it's always relevant information. And this year's keynote speaker was an author of a book, Disillusioned. I recommend it. I have yet to start it because it's 3 behind 2 behind the 3 that I haven't gotten through yet, because, anyway. He was really engaging. He lives in Philly. He looked at 5 different school districts. And so while it was school district related, he looked at the financing. And without getting way into the details, the hypothesis of it is that he believes that the funding mechanisms for school districts, and by proxy all local governments, is a Ponzi scheme. His words, not mine. And that it's not sustainable, and that we're now all realizing that because it's been set up by our forefathers and forefathers and forefathers, that it's all, kick the can down the road, and then there's no more can to kick. And so we're experiencing, I think you picked up on some of those undertones in the 2025 budget making process, or 2026 budget making process, and that we need to be, the era of fat cash balances and cash cows, it's going the way of the dodo. And we need to be more creative and need to be more on top of how we manage financial decisions going forward. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And really interesting, and it wasn't all doom and gloom. He did give some examples of some places that were successful, one of which was Compton. And while it was, everybody knows Compton, it was hard times, but it's actually transformed itself. And one of the recurring themes was a huge influx of private donor, $10 million influx by Dr. Dre, of course. So I'm like, oh, so you need a sugar daddy to help offset some things. Anyway, I just thank you, Council, for allowing me that opportunity to attend that. It was really useful. What was it, 2 weeks ago, a bunch of us met with Marley Bison, Eric Jarrell from Community Planning, just to kick off our community planning contract. It was really good. Looking forward to continuing that dialogue. One of the things that the community planners already jumped in on is our monthly developer meetings. She attended last week's. It was really good. Two more things. March 10th, I think you all got that invitation that combined Montgomery County, Chester County Planning Commission's Understanding Data Centers. I have registered for that. I'm going to attend virtually. I encourage anybody else who's interested to see if you can attend. And last but not least, I'm hoping that, I know at least one of you picked up on all of the pre-motion memos that were included in tonight's meeting packet. I've been hearing some feedback about in just trying to get the meeting packet more digestible and easier for you all, the decision makers, to disseminate that information and make good decisions. And so I'm hoping that you found those memos useful, helpful, and that's something that I'm going to be asking department directors to be doing, following that same format moving forward. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Matt. I think the memos are fantastic.
Thank you.
And really, just a great summary, just even like for the archives, like when you go back and look at something like, why did we update that? Like to have that, this is why we updated it, this is what we did, rather than trying to put 2 side by side and compare them. Or even for the person presenting them in the business meeting, like to have something like this to.
And since we now have our meeting packets online, public, it's just a really good record to keep that, and it is what it is. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thanks, Matt. Okay, so we have many things on our list of upcoming business meeting items, so I think we can just run through and sign those. A is the motion to approve our meeting minutes. Like that? Thank you. We have a motion to approve our departmental reports.
I'll take that one.
Yes. A motion to adopt ordinance 1716, that's our updated RCO. Thank you, Aaron.
If I could add to that, the previous one, the departmental reports, kind of dovetail with what Kellen was talking about, with updating the finance and treasurer's report. Also, the other goal is to reformat the departmental reports, so it's standardized also. So you know that everybody's looking at a departmental report. Here's the department. instead of what it currently is just kind of everybody throwing together their individual reports. So that should be coming hopefully next month as well.
Awesome. You know what, I always, we assign these things, and then sometimes by the time the meeting packet comes, I'm like, now, am I supposed to be reading this in whole? Am I supposed to be summarizing it? Is Alex reading this? So maybe on some of these, we can also identify what exactly the person doing the motions, like Aaron, are you motioning and summarizing, and then we're handing it off, like, will Alex read it in full? Just rather than tripping over that at the last second, if that's okay.
And the spirit of these memos is to give you all that information that you can just, that's your crib sheet. Here's what you need to know.
Okay, so Aaron is on summarizing, and then Alex or Mike won't have to read it in
You
full?
wanted Mike to summarize it, because it's just only a few small changes that we're doing to update. There's not a lot of, it's not a lengthy ordinance.
Okay. Well, it's up to you, and you decide.
I can let Mike do it.
Okay.
He just loves hearing himself speak, right?
All right, we have D, the motion to adopt ordinance 1717, the Emergency Services Board update. Since Will hasn't had a chance to jump in, how about if we?
Is he gonna
yeah.
be here?
He will be here next week, yeah. And just so we can give him some guidance, that's also another one he can probably just summarize, Matt, right?
That's an even easier one.
We have a motion to appoint Tanisha Austin again to the zoning hearing board, because apparently I forgot to ask for a second on that motion, so we motioned for it, we didn't get a second.
Did you read that last time because he wanted to?
I offered it to him because he had,
Yeah.
he sort of identified her as a candidate, so.
Should it still be Will?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, F, the motion to adopt resolution 2026, the promulgation of emergency operations plan.
I can read it.
And is there a summary, again, on that one, Matt, is there like, what is Kristen reading exactly? Is she summarizing the plan, noting that there is a plan?
That's where we will have an updated memo.
Okay. Great.
Yep. In preparation for next week.
And then we didn't see the plan yet, right? Or did I miss it?
We
we don't
don't
need to
advertise the plan.
Okay. But should we see it? Or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It would, if someone went to submit a right to know request, it would be denied for public safety.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Just to explain, the promulgation of the, it's just to say that we have a plan. And then usually after council says they have a plan, I can submit privately to you, you can see the plan, and that can be done every year. But it's just saying that we actually, we're just assuring everybody we have a plan.
Okay.
But yeah,
It's good best practice, right? We're supposed to be doing that annually.
So is that something that maybe is on our SharePoint site and people can go look at it as, you know,
That'd be good.
as they'd like to?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Matt. All right, G, we've got the RACP grant update. Anything like that?
I mean, I can take it.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, this is the, I think, third or fourth time you've entertained this resolution. If you remember, we had like 2 in like 2 months last year, and there was one prior. Because the memo explains it. Because the project has been bid, this is the final that the grantors need for us to check all the boxes for the grant. It's a $1.975 million grant, so it's important.
Okay, thanks, Matt. The next two are appointing emergency management coordinators along with Detective Schwartz. Someone could probably read, I think you'd probably have to read them one at a time, but if someone wants to take both of them.
I'll do this.
Thank you, Chris. And then I'm wondering if we can do the same thing. Can we bundle up J, K, and L, Matt, and someone could read each of them, or do we have to approve them one at a time? Or
Do them each individually.
Okay.
I agree, because it's modifying the separate contracts that it needs a separate roll call vote for them.
Okay. Maybe one person can take them, but we'll do them one at a time?
Do them all.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. And then we have a change order for the GPCC natatorium. Will looks like he wants that one. And our last is the capital expenditure for public works. I'll take that if nobody wants it. Okay, we have police department update. Chief, I assume we can count on you for that?
Certainly.
Excellent. Citizen board vacancies. Thank you, Aaron. Zoning hearings, all yours, Chris. Park and Rec.
Sure.
And once again, Will's getting the snow announcement. If he reads the snow announcement and it snows again, I will not be pleased.
Maybe taking another ride with Public Works.
That's right.
Chris might leave him out there.
All right. Anything last? Do we have any public comments tonight? If we do not, adjourned. Thanks all.